My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. Fuji Foods was engaged in surveillance, and they're doing so with the people of the state. Fuji Foods is just a company engaged in the same psychopathic pacing. Okay, the entities doing so while they are stalking in the path. They are the Ontario International Airport, exactly what the Ontario Police Department were doing last night, stalking. And they're doing it when I'm not in Upland, California. We are in daylight savings time now, but the entity engaged in stalking, and as though I am the center of the universe, there was never any provision in the natural environment for there to be the sun in Upland, California, outside of the entrance doors of that Vaughn's at 81 West Foothill, where that entity is engaged in psychopathic pacing, where the mentally ill are targeting an American citizen, obsessively pacing around them while they are engaged in criminal monitoring. This is criminal activity that is clearly identified while that entity engages in such psychopathic pacing on the roads and the highway, and doing so in the specific environment. It's 7:23 a.m. That will be 6:23 a.m. during standard time, which I also documented right here. This is underneath a covered structure while the entity is keeping the fake sun in Upland, California, and they're engaging in what is feigning a takeoff when they're engaging in the same thing at the Family Community Library, the same thing when they're hovering over the Ontario Town Square, when they are engaging in this pattern of conduct with regard to what is psychopathic pacing in the sky space. This is what the Ontario police are doing with the people of the state that are gang stalking where they work. Kings Inc. is inside stalking in the path, and it's unconstitutional, it's unprotected conduct, and there's no takeoffs here. That's UPS, that's gang stalking, and that was Southwest before, and the entity's doing so in the engineered environment. This is not only criminal surveillance, it's demonic activity. This is psychopathic pacing, right? This is indeed P.O.C, and this is where the fake sun is present at this same location where the Ontario police are stalking, where this fake sun is right here at 10 o'clock during standard time, so that will be 11 during daylight savings time. And remember, I'm at the same Stater Brothers at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, where UPS and Southwest Airlines and Kings Inc. are stalking. You're able to identify the malicious engagement in the pattern of conduct. This is not private property. This is a facilitating venue where the people of the state are engaging in surveillance with the government. And that's what Fuji Foods is engaging in. That's what Kings Inc. is engaging in. That's what UPS and Southwest Airlines are engaging in. And these companies are going to be prosecuted as terrorists and violent sex offenders that are co-conspirators of murder. These are persons under the law, and those persons are going to be federally prosecuted in violation of federal RICO laws. This is P.O.C. This is ongoing activity creation while the entity is maintaining aerial surveillance. 44550D1, the exact same criminal conduct in concert with Fuji Foods, engaging in conspicuous surveillance in this parking lot, just like Pepe's towing, and as I'm documenting them, and the entities engaging in this P.O.C. with the population that maintains criminal presence on behalf of the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. This is a threat to national security. Okay? In the same way that you see UPS gang stalking here, UPS intentionally flew a plane into a building and murdered those people in Kentucky. And they had a fake sunset. Analyze that crime scene because it was an act of terrorism, just like gang stalking is, as I'm showing you in Ontario, California. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:25 a.m. There's no airport over here. They're not lifting off. They're not taking off from the airport over here in any direction, and neither is that engaging in the same conduct, the cartwheels and the pacing over under the fake sun that's here hours later, doing so with the people of the state, using their businesses. That's criminal conduct on the roads and the highways. This is what the entity was doing at the 10 freeway. This is clearly stalking. When I'm at the 10 freeway coming from Upland, that's what the entity is doing. There's no takeoff here. There's no takeoffs over the housing communities, and at the 10 freeway in Upland, and Kings Inc. is engaged in the pattern of conduct. They're in relevant position, engaging in what is activity creation. And you don't have to talk to them. You're not going to get the truth from a demon anyway. You're going to prosecute. This is federal RICO law. P.O.C. It is currently 7:26 a.m. This is P.O.C. It's conspicuous surveillance by the same Ontario Police Department that's stalking me at the 10 freeway, stalking me at the OVITT Family Community Library, and stalking me at the as I'm walking through the neighborhood last night, where I am capturing the people of the state that are molesting with light. This is while the fake sun remains over me. It is not over the Upland Public Library like I'm documenting March 9th, 2026. And doing so at 10 a.m. and I capture another image approximately like 5:38 p.m. The fake sun is outside of the same window along D Street. This is the entity that's keeping the fake sun over me. The entity light activity, flashing of light here, stalking by the path through the business of Wells Fargo that's engaged in criminal surveillance with a conspicuous stalking presence under a fake sun, where they are engaging in conspicuous presence with the airport that you're arcing here, where the fake sun is, not in Upland, California. Also, where the fake sun is still here, like I documented on Sunday at 2 p.m. This is all blatant stalking, conspicuous surveillance. And the entity is maintaining peculiarized light Traffic is engaging in gang stalking under the fake sun. Stalking with light. This is mentally ill behavior. The stalking with light conduct. They're doing it with the demons that are in relevant position. This department that uses helicopters, all the resources of a gang stalker that's masquerading as a police department, engaging what is harassment with Ryder. Everything that's occurring in the environment is symbolic regarding the ongoing surveillance and their ongoing surveillance of things like my vagina, my documentation, what I say in real time, and they are stalking in the path. Okay, this is the department that's engaging in stalking on an ongoing ceaseless basis in Wells Fargo. Brightview, the Open Family Community Library. The entity is maintaining the fake sun on the side of that library on March 3rd, but not today. Okay, and that's because I'm not there. The Ontario Police, any department that is found to be stalking will be federally prosecuted and has no immunity, has no protection. They will be stripped down and prosecuted as the domestic terrorists that they are. And this is gang violence. And Mike Lorenz is going to be prosecuted for this. It's going to be prosecuted for the gang stalking by the people of the state. Going to be prosecuted for the ongoing harassment and terrorism and stalking by helicopters that I'm documenting on a ceaseless basis. This is P.O.C. It is currently, what time is it? 10:16 a.m. This is the cell. Maintaining light activity around me, maintaining presence by the people on the roads and the highways, doing so while the environment to surveillance, the proof of surveillance, remains directly over me. This is 224 North Euclid Avenue. I already documented the sun rise at this address, and I've documented the sun set at this address, and I've documented the stalking by the City of Ontario. The ongoing gang stalking by Union Pacific Railroads, the gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport, the gang stalking by the City of Ontario, the municipality, and the people of the state, corrupt businesses like Brightview, Budget, Leonida Brothers, the entity that's engaging in this P.O.C. with regard to the demonic behavioral pattern in that environment where the purpose is to maintain ongoing surveillance, which is pursuant to stalking. This is P.O.C. This is public corruption while the entity is engaged in the psychopathic pacing. That's what you're looking at. P.O.C. Relevant positioning, stalking in my path, relevant positioning, audible activity, and light activity, while a demon is manifesting in front of you, cloaking itself and engaging in what is, first of all, abiding by the law. It is not, and also that they're engaging in normalcy, sane conduct, the same person, and they're not. They are under the fake sun, and they're also in the environment. I want you to see what is my shadow that's appearing in the shade. Okay, this is the entity that is indeed monitoring with the Ontario Police, who are stalking at the V.O.S. Church at Euclid Avenue and C Street, right across the street. I'm standing in the shade, and this is my shadow that's appearing in the shade. This is malicious, and it's intentional. That's a demon. Those are demons. A Securitas security guard is a demon, and they're all under the fake sun that's not over the Upland Public Library. And those demons are stalking conspicuously. And what I documented on Sunday, March 9th, I believe, it was the day on Sunday, where I'm sitting right here, and after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this fake sun is still here. Okay? Everybody in that environment. Oregon is a gang stalker. That African-American male Satan doesn't have a race. But if you want to put it in physical terms, this is a black male, not a man, targeting another black woman. Black lives do not matter amongst the demon-possessed. It's a distracting narrative. They are monitoring. This is impossible light activity. Okay? This is the P.O.C. where this pattern of conduct is underway. And the entity is stalking me by helicopter at this venue where the fake sun sits all day long. And it doesn't matter what their name is. That third party versus Eric Spencer versus Tracy Banks. All right? Versus Montez of the Ontario Police Department. Gerber of the Ontario Police Department. The demons in the parking lot at Stater Brothers where they're keeping a fake sun. While they're gang stalking inside of a venue such as OVITT Family Community Library, a grand departure from being over the entrance. An impossibility regarding a shadow appearing in the shade. An impossibility regarding the fake sun being in Upland, California at all, like I documented. This is where the entity is engaging in that. Clear stalking by the airport, which is clear stalking by the people of this. And Brightview is engaged in the violation of federal RICO laws. Oregon's in violation of federal RICO laws. Wells Fargo's in violation of federal RICO laws. Southwest Airlines is in violation of federal RICO laws. Okay? The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so with regard to criminal conspiracy to commit murder. While the United States Postal Service drives through, that's the federal government in violation of federal RICO laws, and I will be prosecuting them. They provided ongoing evidence that they're gang stalking, and I'm going to use their lack of foresight and self-control to prosecute them for conspiring murder and being in violation of federal RICO laws. It's currently 10:23 a.m. This light activity is serving to prosecute direct evidence, and there's not going to be any sort of argument in court. P.O.C. All right, here is indeed the focus. Like I already stated, and like the fake sun shows you, it's me. This is the blue and white of the same gang stalking department that is stalking in the path at 303 North Euclid Avenue. I'm going to attach the video so you can see it, but June 6, 2025, during daylight savings time, which we are in now, daylight savings time, the entity, this same department, is stalking me by helicopter. Fake sun is over me at this same location, 303 North Euclid Avenue, where they're engaged in relevant positioning, and they're stalking by helicopter. After 6 p.m., I believe it's like 6:10 p.m. It's after 6 p.m. and this fake sun, this, which is over me now, is over me while I'm at this location. Stalking at 303 North Euclid Avenue, that's where the fake sun is located. That's the same street, Euclid Avenue, where it's not going. I just want to be clear. Daylight savings time or standard time, you're giving and taking away an hour. There will never be any sort of reconciling the ongoing duration of time that a fake sun is remaining where the demon-possessed are using helicopters to engage in and commit acts of terrorism while they are also simultaneously exposing themselves because they're now monitoring the person that's federally prosecuting them. And because gang stalking police departments like Ontario Police have committed this, they're going to prison and they will be subject to commitments. And many of them I have already named: Jay Montez, M. Ross, gang stalking in 2022, C. Gerber, gang stalking again on March 3rd, 2026. You have Sergeant Hall. Okay, you're not a sergeant when you're a vagina monitor, but this is what the demons esteem themselves as. They're all engaging in the pattern of conduct of criminal surveillance, and they're wearing police uniforms in order to get away with stalking, with psychologically torturing someone, utilizing war tactics to engage in threatening them in psychologically harmful manners that is supposed to present mental illness to the ignorant public. By the way, that public that jumps on mental illness as an unfair assumption is the entity that's gang stalking. It's pushing that false narrative, which is the design of this gang stalking system. Nonetheless, they're going to prison for that. All right, City of Ontario, Paul Leon, maintaining surveillance. The City of Ontario, he's funding terrorism. He's going to be federally prosecuted. He is funding terrorism, which is serving my demise, my murder. That's why they're at the corners maintaining light activity. And they're doing so, maintaining light activity while this fake sun, as I documented in June of 2025 after 6 p.m., is right here over this location, 303 North Euclid Avenue. Pay attention to the evidence. This agency is engaging in terrorism, flying over my head, amplifying the sound of helicopters, monitoring what I'm doing on my devices, stalking by the people like the demon-possessed gang stalking Orkin man who's committing sexual assault and battery with that department. That's gang stalking through every business, through every establishment, through every person that are keeping me and my vagina under surveillance. This is P.O.C. It's currently 10:34 a.m. where the sun is never going to be at the same address in the evening, and it certainly will not be from now until after 6 p.m. today. That's not the natural environment. That's the crime scene where the Ontario police are going to be proven as mentally ill and criminal monitors. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is, by the way, it's currently 1:09 p.m. This is the entity that's engaged in dipping behind this town square as though they are landing behind the amphitheater. This is the entity that's flying at it's still hovering because you wouldn't even see this if the entity were taken out from the airport at 25 and 2900 Airport Road. But the entity is engaged in what is stalking nonetheless. Doing so, me under surveillance in concert with the people of the state. These are demons that are maintaining presence. The people of the state, they're third parties who are also demon possessed, which is why I'm referring to their condition while I am simultaneously documenting of conduct. And the condition of those who are stalking you on behalf of a government is relevant to prosecution for domestic terrorism. This is the City of Ontario that's monitoring while Ontario International Airport, the gang stalking commercial airlines maintain aerial surveillance in a conspicuous manner. The same town square at 224 North Euclid Avenue where I'm present this morning during the 9 a.m. hour. The entity is maintaining this fake sun over me while I'm documenting at 303 North Euclid Avenue. The Ontario police engage in conspicuous surveillance, with which they are always doing with regard to ritually, especially when I document what the entity is hostile to, harassing me because of it. The entity stalking conspicuously at 303 North Euclid Avenue is analogous to stalking me by helicopter, which the entity also did this morning, flying directly over the top of my head. I'm at the same venue. It's 1:10 p.m. I'm documenting Brink Security gang stalking with Wells Fargo a couple days ago, and this is after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The fake sun is still here. This is where the airport is stalking. This is where the Ontario police are engaging in surveillance. This is where the entity is doing so as a population. This is not traffic, like I stated. This is surveillance. When I'm in Upland, California, the entity is keeping the fake sun over that Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is stalking at the 10 freeway, okay, hovering over the housing community like they're landing behind the amphitheater. That's what the city of Ontario is doing here. This is Paul Leon funding terrorism. This is public corruption. This is the 66 car show. This is the food festival, doing so under the fake sun while stalking me, targeting me by helicopter in concert with the people of the state who are all cockroaches pacing in the engineer light monitoring, which is why, again, when you're looking at this in court, Paul Leon is going to be federally prosecuted for the malicious conspiracy to murder someone and doing it as a matter of public corruption. This is the entity that has no flights over here, and this is direct engagement by the city of Ontario, and there's psychopaths that look to the left and right while the whole fake sun's remaining over the Upland Public Library. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 1:11 p.m. at 224 North Euclid Avenue. Alrighty, it is currently, this is documentation putting the domestic terrorists, the Ontario police, who you are seeing engaging in what is literally handing over evidence with regard to the mentally ill state that they remain in, and the delusional psychopaths that they are, stalking and doing so before the world, where there is no controversy in the federal tribunal regarding the criminal conspiracy to commit murder by an inherently threatening pattern of conduct reasonably to result in, and also the evidence that exists regarding the conspiracy in existence to murder me, to take my life, steal my property, steal my identity, and defame my character. That's what's relevant behind the stalking of an entire Ontario Police Department. It's a pattern of conduct that the people of the state share. And it's proven through Jay Montez's criminal presence in the path intentionally to communicate a threat, while demons are stalking with noise regarding monitoring my every physical movement. They're also doing that pertaining to monitoring my vagina in private spaces on behalf of that agency that's keeping a fake sun over me as I'm documenting during standard Pacific time. At approximately 9:45 a.m., it's 1:50 p.m., the entity is maintaining this pattern of conduct, and the fake sun's going in the opposite direction than it was on the morning when I'm documenting Jay Montez stalking me in the path, tracking my steps with a population that's monitoring. There was CMAX stalking with light activity, just like Amazon is stalking with light activity under the fake sun. The entity is doing so. Remember, it's daylight savings time, so it is 1:51. This would still be 12:51 during standard time. The sun's not going to be over the same address, over the same person, in the same city. What is over in Florida, okay? And it's not this. Jay Montez is stalking. And Jay Montez is stalking somebody that he knows where I am and what I'm doing. So do the people, the demons that were pacing on this street, and Engineer Light was moving across these venues who are also monitoring. While that police department stalking in helicopter today, we're stalking in helicopter as I'm documenting, walking through the neighborhood, just like last night, stalking by helicopter, just like Amazon is doing, and Upland stalking with the Ontario Police Department, who are engaged in the pattern of conduct in Ontario. Mr. Bezos is going to be federally prosecuted, which is what companies are going to be subject to while they are shown to be engaging in the capitalistic endeavor upon domestic terrorism in the U.S. That is gang stalking companies that are conspiring murder, doing so while you are not free to engage in facilitating criminal surveillance. And it will not be based on your knowledge. It will not be any sort of defense because you are mentally ill. The pattern of conduct establishes that. You will be prosecuted where it is under any circumstances facilitating that established P.O.C. by the agencies such as the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. Jay Montez is going to prison. 9LNS 633. They are stalking on behalf of that agency. That's why when I document them, the entity begins flying in circles around me, just like you see on an ongoing basis. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. This is 1:52 p.m. at the same address. Okay, this is the B Street. It's 126 B Street at the intersection of B Street, and I believe this is Laurel. This is P.O.C. Yes, USPS is monitoring. These are companies that are monitoring. These are all venues that are monitoring. And that's the same intersection where at 6 p.m. daylight savings time, which we are now in, the United States Postal Service are a bunch of demons that are just wearing uniforms, just like Amazon Prime wearing uniforms, demons gang stalking. That represents the federal government, however, and it's also showing you mental illness. These are all demons. So this is exposing the demon possessed, which are engaged in a surveillance system in the U.S. And Jay Montez is going to prison behind it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:53 p.m. This is psychopathic pacing, as I'm showing you that illusion that's serving for what is prosecuting in court. And the entity that does this with a straight face, like Amazon with impunity, they're here knowing that they're being documented and engaging in that ongoing persistence like nothing is happening, nothing to see here. I'm not fazed. I don't care. I'm going to stalk you in helicopters for 10 minutes on video. They're going to be committed with the same evidence. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the entity that's from ostensibly the same airport, moving as I move, and is present over the same Safeco Auto LLC. And in the video with regard to prosecuting the terrorist that's engaged in criminal summoning with the gang members of the city of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport is hovering over American Stereo Masters in that video at nightfall while I'm surrounded by gang members that are bearing guns and weapons of the Ontario Police, and they're hovering as though they're landing right here at the Emporia Apartments. The entity's engaging in what is vacillating with that. There's no airport over here anywhere. The entity's engaging in what is flying miles over here, and then the sound of what's reminiscent of plane activity that's entirely demonic. It's as fake as the fake sun that's remaining over me, going right back toward the environment where the fake sun was rising this morning. The entity's doing so while I'm at the Safeco, where the entity's engaging what is stalking by the stereo. That's what that is. Stalking in the sky space inaudibly, meaning aerial surveillance, where this is the property that the entity has the fake sun over me, as I also documented at 10 in the morning. What time is it? Where you're looking at the P.O.C. at nightfall in the engineered environment. It is currently 2:03 p.m. where Safeco is committing criminal summoning with the terrorists that's molesting me with light, just like they are now, while they are gang stalking me at an establishment, engaging in serving that pattern of conduct with the same Ontario Police Department. Psychopaths that arrive, quote unquote, pursuant to being summoned when they're already stalking you together, which is also documented in that video. He's going to prison. He's going to prison, and he is a terrorist, and so is Johnson, that clown that's speaking to, oh, it's weird to engage in terrorism, but it's not weird to be the terrorist. And I don't think federal courts that are prosecuting federal terrorists like Johnson think that it's weird at all. It's actually weird that he's a vagina monitor, and a short one, a short stubby one. This is P.O.C. It's currently 2:03 p.m. where the entity is engaged in very weird conduct, flying miles away, and then hear the sound of plane activity. It's demonic. It is entirely demonic, and that video is going to be juxtaposed with this video. Stalking under the fake sun is where criminal summoning is underway. And they're engaging that Safeco Auto LLC is a third party that engaged in what is the exercise of fictitious authority. And the Ontario Police Department is doing it via third parties that are violent sex offenders engaging in molestation with engineer light while they're monitoring. Psychopaths, gang stalking. It is currently 2:04 p.m. This is the same Holt Boulevard where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking me right here at this business. It's all connected. 607 Holt Boulevard. Southwest Airlines is hovering, and they're engaging in that miles away. Miles. The airport is not in some line right here. Neither is it on the opposite side over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. The entity is stalking. As I move, those planes move, and they're engaging in that conduct. That's why they're gang stalking me in Fontana, Amazon Prime over my head at Arrow and Sierra, by the way. That's why they're gang stalking in Montclair, at I.I.S while I'm aboard Omnitrans going to Pomona, in another city stalking where there's also no airport and you're not hovering perpetually. You're stalking. Nonetheless, this is P.O.C. It's 2:05 p.m. I just want you to see an example of what is ongoing psychological torture by demons keeping you under surveillance. Jay Montez is going to prison for this. 1671273, vehicle 1077. They're stalking in the path. There's a whole body of evidence regarding Starbucks as well. License 1627718, vehicle 1034. This is the fake sun. They're stalking. I just documented their partners stalking, driving in the opposite direction. I documented seconds before that the Ontario Fire Department stalking, going in what is the east direction. This is at San Antonio HOLT. They're all stalking with the state. That's the state that's stalking with the airport that's hovering over, which I'm capturing on videos. They're doing it at the infamous Stater Brothers, where the fake sun is over me this morning, as I capture on video at 8:34. The entity has the fake sun rising, where the entity is engaged in vagina monitoring under the 6:30 a.m. fake sun. The entity is engaged in that, and the fake sun is over, not over the village, not over anyone else, which it wouldn't be. Okay, we share one sun with Florida, but not when I'm showing you what my documentation is. And the Ontario Police Department are being disbanded for psychological torture upon the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And the more that I document, the more that those sex offenders, their vagina monitors, they're wasting gas and resources, which Paul Leon and Mike Lorenz are aware of, to stalk me. Just like all of them, all they're doing is pacing under this fake sun. They're all pacing. The fake sun is over me in the morning while L. Edwards is engaged in criminal summoning. That was during the 9 a.m. hour. He's going to prison, and his partners that are stalking me. That's showing you the purpose for why they're at this intersection at this time, because that is supernatural, and it's not ignorantly or coincidentally or accidentally happening, especially when you're stalking me in a helicopter. This is P.O.C. though. They're going to prison. And Jay Montez is going to prison. They do each other a disservice while they keep stalking, and I keep capturing it. And they engage in it with the people who are going to prison. That's impossible light on the car. Sunlight isn't ricocheting off of the side of the car, especially when it's over it. And it's still over it at this point in the day. They're all stalking on the roads and the highways. Just like they are at the 10 freeway, where the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. Starbucks is monitoring, Omnitrans is monitoring. This is a federal RICO case while the Ontario police can't contain their mental illness, stalking me, and I'm capturing it. P.O.C. This is, I want to be clear, Jason Fields is going to prison, Tracy Banks, Eric Spencer, they're arriving maliciously, engaging in this P.O.C., and they're going to federal prison. And so is Mike Lorenz. P.O.C. All right, this is also evidence that lets you know that Ontario police are stalking. What the people of the state do. How is your shadow creating activity underneath the vending machine when they're demons and when it's a demonic environment? And the demons are wearing Ontario police uniforms, and the people of the state are stalking for that agency, with that agency, demons alike. The demons that are calling themselves Ontario police are going to be disrobed. They're going to be removed, disbanded, and they're being committed. Stalking me on the roads and the highways because they think they're playing with their own minds. They're going to prison with this evidence. This epic, historic level of proving the unthinkable. They're going to prison with it. This is impossible light on the inside. He's going to walk through it. Pay attention. Impossible light activity. And this is the fake sun over the entrance, and there is no vantage point where sunlight's going to come down. And it's the same thing I'm always documenting. This is speaking to malice, intent, and knowledge also. They're pacing. This is pacing. They're mentally ill, and so are the Ontario police. So just put a police uniform on it, and that's OPD. Okay? They are demons. They're vagina monitors. They are demon-possessed psychopaths, and the stalking with light conduct proves it. This is P.O.C. My shadow is in the distance over here. This is terrorism. It's molestation. It's a sex offense. It's also psychological torture. All right. And while the demons are wearing uniforms and stalking in helicopters and following me around and engaging in that, while they're also monitoring my evidence, they are not only being disbanded for kidnapping repeatedly, they're co-defendants, Tracy Banks and Jason Fields. Okay, these demons that are ongoing with regard to stalking and doing so in concert with the people, they're going to prison. This was a very poor plan to ever target me in the first place, and this is embarrassing what the demon-possessed have committed and the fact that they've been discerned, and everybody knows that they're demons and that they're stalking me. All right, this is the entity that's been engaged in worshiping me for years, and that worship is a... Here's Ontario police stalking at Superior. This is a psychopath monitoring my vagina the entire time. 1697634, where the Ontario International Airport has been flying over the spin cycle wash and dry, doing so with the people of the state, and doing so while monitoring my my device. So this is timing, just like at HOLT in Euclid. That was HOLT Boulevard in San Antonio. And this is just psychopathic pacing. Engineered lights moving across that grocery store, just like inside of the laundromat. He's going to prison. He's pacing with the people. These are demons. They're monitoring me together, and he's monitoring my vagina. I just put my clothes on inside of that laundry room. Vehicle 1120, he's going to prison. He's a psycho. That's a demon. He's a psychopath. He's a stalker, and he's a co-conspirator of murder under the law, but that's a demon. He's a psychopath. He came here to engage in the same criminal activity that they did at HOLT and Euclid. And this is the conduct that Tracy Banks, this is the conduct that Jason Isaac Fields, this entity of demons that are engaged in abusing their positions in government, have plotted, and they thought that this was going to cause me to have a mental breakdown, that it was going to cause me to appear as crazy as they falsely depicted me on paper. And you are looking at the evidence of their mental illness. That's another state actor that's going to prison. He literally drives in, he's crossing my path, he's stalking. And they're doing so waiting for me to come out after being engaged in monitoring my vagina in the bathroom inside of this laundry room. You saw that light activity underneath the vending machine? These demons that are being prosecuted, you're not engaging in retaliation. You keep giving evidence to officials who are going to take action on all this evidence. You're going to be committed. And that is another state actor who is going to federal prison. That's a threat to my life, and it's a threat that I have to undertake because the government itself has been threatening my life. And I remain subject to that while I still remain dispossessed of my money and property, still sleeping outside for those stalkers to engage in harassing and kidnapping. This is what Craig Hazelwood and Owens are doing. They don't have authority under the municipal code. They're stalking. He literally engaged in pacing, drives in, drives around, engineered light over the grocery store, and drives out. And the reason why he's engaging what is waving, that's supposed to be that which is driving. No, it's not driving me crazy. It's showing you, all of you who are witnessing, how psychotic the demon-possessed are. They are in need of martial law. Mike Lorenz is being federally prosecuted by the pattern of conduct by that agency. And he's also being prosecuted for the criminal activity that people of the state are engaging in because of that agency, in concert with that agency. And that agency is engaged in the inhumane sex offense of keeping my genitalia
tell you under surveillance in concert with the population. The sun is never over this far on in Ontario. It remains at the OVITT Family Community Library. It's 4:35 p.m. And as I'm in Upland yesterday, it's remaining over the Upland Public Library. That's how I'm capturing it in an image after 5 p.m. over the same D Street window. This is P.O.C, and that's the entity that is targeting me specifically, while this fake sun remains over me as I'm on the same street. Stater Brothers is east of this location. The Ontario police stalk me on the roads and the highways to this venue, and doing so, coming to where I'm at, stalking. And those that are doing so with them. Jason Fields has no under the law. If he is in possession of property that belongs to me, I'm going to prosecute for it. He's been holding on to my money and property the government has while stalking and watching me and studying me while you're stalking me. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. All right, maintaining an ongoing observation while you're maintaining a system of psychological torture and harassment, and then just doing so because you're fascinated because it doesn't work against me, you're going to be committed. This is pacing under the fake sun, and this is criminal summoning coming right back in. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct, the demons that are stalking with light. Don't forget the entity that's stalking me by helicopter. This is the entity doing so in the vehicles. It's the same exact criminal conduct and wants to be near me. This is the demons. These are the demons that stalk in the bathroom. He's an engineer light. This is what Alex Escobar is doing at 8 o'clock in the morning under the fake sun on the same street. Alex Escobar is going to prison, and so is he. He comes back into this parking lot to engage in what is criminal summoning. This is P.O.C. and Superior, check cashing, spin cycle, dentist braces and implants, Boost Mobile. They're all monitoring with this department. This is P.O.C. and they're subject to prison as well. They're gang stalking together. This is what L. Edwards is doing on the same block at the OVITT Family Community Library. It's light activity, relevant positioning, and ongoing activity creation under the fake sun. L. Edwards is doing it at the OVITT Family Community Library at 9 in the morning. This is P.O.C. This is a short, stumpy midget who's a vagina monitor, and everybody in that car is vagina monitoring as well. This is P.O.C. You're here stalking me. You're here stalking me, Satan.
I can't hear what they're
You
saying.
can't hear them speak up. I'm not too close. This is the parking lot. This is the parking lot. Pay attention to him. Pay attention to him. I'm in the parking lot. You're here stalking. You're a psychopath. This is a demon that's here stalking me and talking about you can't hear. Let me speak louder while you're stalking, Satan. Let me speak louder while you're stalking. Bearing a gun while you're gang stalking, you're going to prison. You psychopath. You're here monitoring my vagina with those demons in that car. They're getting prosecuted too. He's here stalking. He's here stalking. This is not witchcraft. This is supposed to be witchcraft. It's not witchcraft. He's talking about, can you back up? Can you be quiet while you're stalking his partners? L. Edwards, his partners, Sergeant Hall and Johnson, and the entity that's engaging in criminal summoning at Safeco, they're all going to prison. This is textbook P.O.C. under a fake sun that's on the same block. Stater Brothers, Starbucks right here at the corner. License 1697634, psychopathic pacing. A demon-possessed person that's bearing a weapon is unfit to be in law enforcement and is gang stalking, engaging in what is gang violence while engaging in what is the abuse of that position to do so. You're a psychopath, El Hernandez. You're going to prison. And you're going to be committed with your audible activity, pulling over the people of the state to gang stalk me. That department is already fully documented. You're a vagina monitor, a demon stalking with light. This is P.O.C. You can look down all you want. It's already known what you're actually doing. This is the entity that's stalking by helicopter, and it's known what they're doing. These demons stalking with light. And it's pathetic. This is where the airport's stalking, like I stated, and this is that pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that is looking for attention from me. Looking for it. Every time they're in my presence, it's pursuant to stalking. This is psychopathic pacing. Do not be distracted. He's going to prison, and he's going to be committed. This is P.O.C. This is El Hernandez, what it looks like. He's going to prison. All right, he's engaged in what is gang violence by getting onto the force. This is a little reject, probably was bullied in high school, a closeted homosexual, engaging in what is Satanism, gang stalking while wearing a uniform. This is a coward, and this is somebody that is stalking somebody behind a badge, and I'm going to take that badge. This is P.O.C. Currently, by the way, 4:39 p.m. This agency is stalking me by helicopter. So this is the entity that's engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. Psychopathic pacing with the people of the state. The sun didn't go anywhere today. It's on the same block. They're all stalking. 43501 Henry 4. What's the airport doing? Stalking. Sunlight doesn't swipe across the black asphalt. He's stalking. You can't hear your audible activity. You're monitoring. You're listening to me. Monitoring my vagina in that bathroom. Be prepared to be committed. I know you're listening because you're monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. You're a psychopath. Be prepared to get committed. You're embarrassing yourself and that whole agency. You're going to be stripped butt naked like you want to be. You want to be violated by men. You're going to prison. You like to be a sex offender. That's what you're reaping. You're going to prison. You're a psychopath. This is P.O.C. They're in my path stalking. This will never create any sort of narrative substantiating criminal defamation by this agency. I'm on their cameras while they're stalking me, and I'm documenting it. And you're going to prison. It's my evidence to prosecute you. While I'm here, I'm the center of your whole fake universe. This is not the sun. It's remaining in Upland, California. It's what LAPD is gang stalking me under by helicopter as well. It's what the Fontana Police Department are gang stalking under a fake sun as well. Looking to the left or the right is the tactic. While these demons, these puppets are already shown. And it's the same with them. That's the pattern of conduct. This isn't witchcraft, Satan. It's not working. You're going to prison. Holding a gun and a badge and looking to the left and the right is why you're going to be committed. It's psychopathic, delusional behavior. Delusional. You're delusional. P.O.C. You're listening to me, and I know you are, and everybody else is watching, because you're going to prison. You were told your sentence before it happens. You're going to prison, Satan. P.O.C. Coming over here gang stalking, telling me to be quiet, and I'm the reason why you're here. Watch this fake sun remain over me while I walk away from that demon. All of them are in this parking lot gang stalking. Jason Fields is going to prison. This is the entity that targeted me with this asinine system. All right, these flying monkeys, these demon-possessed psychopaths sitting around engaging in surveillance. Stalking. Stalking with those over and under the age of majority. Those that are immigrants. They don't even belong in this country, and they're engaging in terrorism with gang members. All right? That light activity inside of that laundry room, he's going to prison. You're not doing anything other than gang stalking. This is the entity that engages in that, and this is what they are typically using to defame target individuals that are not armed with the evidence. Because I am letting this turd, this skid mark, know what he is. This is not evidence of mental illness on my part. I'm letting a psychopath know exactly where he is going. This is the entity that's being put in their place, and do not mistake that. He's going to federal prison. This is psychopathic. He's got a gun, and he's stalking me right now. You're going to federal prison for that. That's why they're wearing those uniforms. If this fake sun is moving as I'm moving, he's going to prison. He's going to prison because everybody in this parking lot and in this store, in this plaza, and on a whole boulevard are stalking. He's going to prison. That's P.O.C. These are demons. And these are demons that are psychotic. You're stalking me at the 10 freeway last night. You're stalking me at OVITT Family Community Library in helicopter last night. You're stalking me while I'm walking through the neighborhood. You know exactly what this is. It will never equal mental illness. You cannot lie and then engage in what is stalking me and cause that to be evidence that's going, no, it will never happen. You're going to prison. You have always been the mentally ill one, and everybody gang stalking with you, including Jason Fields, a vagina monitor, his wife, Tracy Banks, a vagina monitor, Eric Spencer, a gang stalking fake relative, a vagina monitor. They're sex offenders. They're predators. You're not getting my money, and you will be committed. You're going to be federally prosecuted with your unintelligent co-defendants. This is P.O.C. That's not the sun that's remaining over me while they are driving away and moving away. That sun remains, it's idiosyncratic with regard to me and where I'm at. He is targeting, and everything that came out of his face is an unlawful threat. Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted for this, for engaging in what is harassment and terrorism and psychologically harmful conduct, which does not create mental illness on the part of the one that you are stalking. I'm going to prosecute you. You're going to prison for abusing those positions and harassing me, and doing so when I already prosecuted you. Now you're just begging for attention. So I will embarrass you on the internet. It will not be confused by anybody. You're going to prison. This is P.O.C. You're going to federal prison. That's the pattern of conduct. Superiors engaged in harassment. This is the federal RICO case. They're all monitoring together. 53001 Mary 2. 8KGU 667. They're all monitored. There's no sun over the OVITT Family Community Library. Do not be distracted. The facts remain. That's what they cannot combat with. They cannot contend with facts while they're engaged in what is harassing. These psychological torture tactics are unsuccessful. When you are no longer ignorant, they're going to prison and they're being disbanded. They're going to be prosecuted as terrorists, and anybody that's an immigrant of that agency is being deported like any other immigrant. You're not welcome here. This is P.O.C. Are you the manager in here? Are you the manager? No. No? Okay. You're molesting me with impossible light and monitoring with the Ontario police and telling me to leave my stuff in the front. They're molesting with impossible light activity. This is Superior, right? Yeah, Superior Grocers. This is a sexual assault and battery. And this is harassment. I said sexual assault and battery. Here you go. Where am I going to put my... Oh, leave his name out of it. Leave his name out of it.
I know, I hear it, huh?
This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's targeting.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Thank you.
Okay, and say
This is the entity that's engaged in criminal summoning. This is already federal prison. But they're molesting with impossible light, speaking to targeting. And you're talking about, remember Food for Less, that's stalking with the Ontario Police Department? I've already documented this already before. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. This is the entity that's harassing you while they're engaging in criminal summoning on the property. It's harassment as well. All right, this is P.O.C. Oh. It is, by the way, the current time is 4:52 p.m. Oh, let me show you the fake sun so you can be clear that they are molesting with impossible light. He is going to prison. This puppet drove off. Impossible Light moved across the building. He drives out the parking lot listening to me describe and sentence him through this ongoing prosecution. And then he comes back with the people of the state to engage in what is loitering in the path, stalking conspicuously via the abuse of what actual law enforcement execution of duties of officers entails, which is having authority on the roads and the highways, not when you're engaged in federal stalking. That's what is stalking under the fake sun, which so is Superior. I'm going to prosecute them. This is federal RICO, and I'm going to prosecute him. He's going to prison. Everything that came out of his mouth, can you be quiet? You're stalking me. And you're talking about be quiet. You're doing so in furtherance of trying to murder and psychologically torture. You're doing so after defaming me and engaging in egregious sexual violence. You came here to be in he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently, and that's the same mental illness by the entire department. They're all demons. It's 4:53 p.m. They're targeting. That's P.O.C. This is called surveillance. Hernandez is going to prison. That's impossible light on the ground next to a demon engaging in surveillance with the police. And so is Delta Airlines. Hernandez is going to prison. And the gang members that he pulled over are gang stalking just like him. Criminal summoning is a means of the entity stalking together. The vicarious and direct engagement and gang stalking together at the same time. Where the airport is stalking, where the fake sun is over me. And this is at 815 Holt Boulevard. I just want to be clear, that's the Starbucks right there. That's the Starbucks right there. The entity has the fake sun over me at the Starbucks, which is the same side, the opposite side of the same street where David Quinones is monitoring my vagina this morning, where the fake sun is rising at 7. This is literally at the block. At the block. This is where the airport is stalking. The entity is doing this as though they're taking off and landing while they are stalking, hovering over the parking lot, over Bonita Court. But then the entity is on the opposite, where I'm at, where the fake sun is still present at the same location, and that's where you're stalking. And is engaging in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police. He's going to prison. Those demons inside of the car, their facial expressions looking like they're disturbed because they're being pulled over. They're gang stalking their demons under the fake sun. They are maliciously targeting in concert with the people. All right, they being the people of the state that are pacing on the roads and the highways. The people's role is to be pulled over. The entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning, and they're all together exercise. They're playing cops and robbers, in other words. They're stalking under the fake sun, and that's where the airport is stalking. Hernandez is going to prison. Superior is gang stalking me as well. I'm going to prosecute this little ghetto establishment, this gang stalking establishment, filled with immigrants that are hostile to American citizens enforcing their rights, and that's noted. You don't want to be here, honey. That is noted with regard to your gang stalking. You're not welcome here. You don't want to be here. You're not even welcome here. It's un-American. Go back to your country if that's where they're engaging in what is terrorism with the government. Whatever type of regime that is. But this is the entity engaging what is hostility. That's what is communicated while the entity is gang stalking through the gang members of the Ontario Police. The entity is, Hernandez is going to prison. Analytically speaking, he's going to prison. The light activity inside of that laundromat. The maintenance of the fake sun rising this morning at the Stater Brothers at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, which is right here. This is the same location. The entity has the fake sun over me now. It's after 4 p.m. That's non-movement of the sun. The entity is engaging in what is stalking with that environment while that pattern of conduct remains underway. They literally are following up and down Holt Boulevard and doing so while that demon that had a gun on his hip, he's going to prison for being in the position and stalking. There are clearly any takeoffs. You're looking at stalking by an airport. This is the mentally ill that have no business in law enforcement. They have no business being in cockpits flying planes. This is why UPS was able to murder those people in Kentucky. Things are going to change as I engage in this prosecution of the U.S. government in California. This is P.O.C. He's going to prison while Ontario Police, this demon right here, his name is Hernandez. That midget's going to prison. He's going to prison. It was complete in that video, but he's going to prison while the entity is stalking by, he's going to prison. All right. The light activity, the stalking by the entity is he's going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. All right. That's the pattern of conduct. And this is the entity that knows it. Yeah, they're not even trying. He knows it. Hernandez is going to prison. And by the way, while they're going to prison and they're not getting out. They've done more than gang stalking me, which is enough. It's terrorism. The entity is engaged in what is mail fraud. They've engaged in identity theft. They've shared in that with the people of the state. You're engaging in what is gang stalking. Do you understand how I could not pay for better evidence? You think this is a coincidence as I'm talking about Hernandez going to prison, and then this department thinks it's a good idea to fly over my head? You know why? Because they know they're going to prison, and because you do that, with that knowledge, you're not getting out of prison. You're not going to prison for 5 years for gang stalking. You're not going to prison for 10 years for gang stalking. This is P.O.C. Hernandez is very much indeed going to prison, and the Ontario International Airport is very much indeed being shut down, and that's mental illness that you see following me around at nightfall as well. And that traffic stop is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. That gang member in that vehicle back there, all these gang members here are sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct, and flying over the top of my head makes you sure that they're all stalking. That's what that does. 7 VVP 149, license plate 8 W.S.C 534. The hostile immigrants in this country, they're being deported because of their engagement in domestic terrorism with the murderers and the kidnappers of the Ontario Police. That's why they're being deported. Their hostility is shown through the gang members of the Ontario Police. The message has been fully conveyed. You will be deported. Summarily, you will be deported. This is P.O.C. These are demons. Demons that have been granted a privilege to be here. It's being revoked. This is P.O.C. Flying over my head is not what you do if you want to stay in the United States. You're being deported. Gang stalking, wearing a uniform and a badge, you're going to prison. You're going to be subject to mental examinations. And this is the entity that does so. Hernandez has no hope. He doesn't even intend to not go to prison. They know that. They're stalking me with the level of hopelessness and desperation. And I'm also even going to analyze that in order to prosecute. This is P.O.C. This is all psychopathic pacing. Monitoring with the police. And that's what that traffic stop was. He drove out of the parking lot and then drove back in to engage in stalking with light in the path while I went into Superior. I couldn't pay for better evidence. I don't have to. And was keeping my vagina under surveillance. This is what the Ontario over this venue, what was amplified plane activity in the bathroom. You're going to prison. They're going to prison. The demons in the black vehicle that Hernandez pulled over, they're going to prison. Every documented act of criminal summoning, you see the tactic of gang stalking by Mike LORENZ, that agency, they're all going to prison, including Tracy Banks. She's engaged in criminal summoning with this Ontario Police Department. Don't forget what they're doing together on video. That night that they were monitoring what I published on the X, she's going to prison, as is every terrorist. This is P.O.C. These are demons that know the truth that I speak, and they're going to prison. And while they're doing so, monitoring evidence. This is evidence that you're monitoring what I'm talking about. This is evidence that what is ongoing confirmation that the people of the state are stalking. The entity that engages in stalking by helicopter with psychopathic pacing like this is one that is demonstrating the details of its mental illness, the agency that practices a pattern of conduct. And number two, they are confirming that the people of the state that are being documented are indeed gang stalking and furtherance of murder with the agency. On behalf of that agency, there is a third-party agency that is in operation while the entity arrives that is conspicuously stalking, while the people of the state are the ones that are in your face. And as I document the ones in my face stalking, this is what is resulting. This is what's happening last night while the demons are stalking in the alley, and then the entity begins flying in circles over that alley where I'm at documenting. This is not helping. This is prosecuting the people. The entity is engaged in this so much it's heavily documented. The entity, the venue where the entity is flying over their gang stalking, Superior is gang stalking, Hernandez is gang stalking, the one that Hernandez pulled over is gang stalking, the demon in the white SUV in the corner of this parking lot is gang stalking, the Ontario International Airport that flew over and then did a cartwheel in the same parking lot, which was then followed by the psychopathic pacing, they're gang stalking. The entity that's gang stalking, Jay Montez at the same B Street and Laurel Avenue, he's gang stalking at 9:44 in the morning. This is not even a mile away. This is the same block. They're all stalking. The entity does not have a tactic to give me this type of evidence. Is evidence to you who are paying attention. This is a prosecution that's already complete. Why the federal government has permitted this entity to continuously engage in this ongoing asinine exposure of themselves, that is the answer that's going to be answered. That's the answer that's going to be provided in a tribunal. However, I am capturing it because this is evidence of instability. This is evidence of instability. Listen to what Hernandez said while he's stalking me. He told me to stop talking so loud, basically, and to back up, and he's there to stalk me. He drove out of the parking lot and then came back in to engage in criminal summoning. He is there targeting me. The fake sun is on video moving as I move in the parking lot. Moving what is east and west in that parking lot over me. It's remaining over the laundromat. Then it's remaining over me while he is stalking me, as you are aware of what their role is with regard to criminal summoning. And then as I start documenting the demons by airport, putting Hernandez in prison, the entity engages in what is that ongoing, predictable stalking, flying in a circle. Everybody knows what Alan D. Wapner is. Everybody knows what Jim Bowman and Julia Gu are. Everybody knows what Otif El Qadi is. Because they're being prosecuted as terrorists. I'm going to prosecute them for keeping my vagina under surveillance and using commercial planes to do it, for invading my privacy, for psychologically torturing me and doing so, and then threatening me and my safety, and further, further exacerbating that threat, while then the police department comes around stalking in helicopter while I document the airport stalking, because that's what you just witnessed in this parking lot, and that's a documented pattern. Every airline, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, Amazon Prime Air, Southwest Airlines, UPS. You have the entity that's engaging in what is gang stalking by Avianca, I believe, Frontier Airlines. They're all being federally prosecuted for the criminal activity that you're looking at the police department and every airline share in, while Delta Airlines flies over the parking lot where the sun is evidence of that airport and that airline stalking me. The light activity inside of this laundromat is evidence that that airline and that airport is stalking me. The stalking by the Ontario Police Department. Why would you do that? Like I said, these are imbeciles. These are imbeciles severely lacking in the intelligent quotient department. Very unintelligent. Okay, this is the entity that just provides evidence. When you are analyzing that, you are literally admitting that you're stalking. These are literally their tactics that they rely on. Their tactics that are relied upon are evidence of stalking and keeping the evidence that you are stalking me, that I'm capturing and documenting, that you're keeping that under surveillance as well. Hernandez is indeed going to prison. And everybody that I'm documenting, as the entity is targeting me, more and more, as I document you, you are going to prison. So as I document Hernandez, who is indeed going to prison, as I document American Airlines, I just want to be clear, you're sitting on an airport board, you call yourself a president of the airport authority. I don't want you to be too surprised when you find out that you're being sentenced to prison, that you're going to be federally prosecuted. I don't want you to be shocked and appalled, because Alan D. Wapner is very old. Okay? But it's not stopping him from engaging in terrorism with a mass population. They've invested millions of dollars in criminal activity. These demons are engaging in what is psychopathic pacing. They're engaged in gang stalking as a population. They are scheduling in, fitting in, gang stalking me with regard to wherever it is that they're going, but they're stalking and doing so. This evidence of the fake sun, that's the Ontario Village Shopping Center right there. That's San Antonio, where I was at this morning. The fake sun is over me at 8:30 in the morning. It's on video. And then you commence to psychopathic pacing over Daisy Eco at 761 Holt Boulevard. Hernandez is going to prison, and he's going to be committed with the evidence of a psychopathic disorder, which is seeking to maintain what is a sense of normalcy while you are unfit, in fact, regarding criminal activity that had to be proven through an unprecedented public investigation of a corrupt government, and you did that to get away with what is a system of murdering American citizens and kidnapping them and falsely depicting their character in doing so. Hernandez is absolutely going to federal prison. And his partner is sealing that fate. His partner that was documented before him, Alex Escobar, is also sealing that fate. They are working against each other, as I've documented that whole department. Jay Montez, Alex Escobar, and so on and so forth. They're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, on my other phone, the storage ran out. It's 5:35 p.m. All right, the OVITT Family Community Library is right down Holt Boulevard, and then it's off of C Street. This is where the entity is stalking. So you're looking at the Google Maps, because in court, the sun did not go anywhere, and it only went beyond San Antonio because I went past the Ontario Village Shopping Center. All right, it's only in Upland, California, remaining over that library because that's where I remain. This is prosecuting Chino, California, Fontana, California, Pomona, California, the entity that's gang stalking me in San Bernardino, California, the entity that's gang stalking Rancho Cucamonga, California, Los Angeles, California, the state of California, San Diego, California, Costa Mesa, California, Bakersfield, California, that's Kern County. It's prosecuting the state. While you're looking at a demon that is losing self-control in all of the state of California, pay attention, because you're being prosecuted by it. You've been being prosecuted by it while they're stalking me day and night with no strategy. No strategy. Blatant stalking, thank you for playing right into my hand. You're going to prison. I documented you criminal summoning in San Diego. I documented you engaging in criminal summoning in Fontana. I documented you engaging in criminal summoning in San Bernardino, California. You're going to prison. This is P.O.C. License 9CJT371, 9PJJ386, 8TYW527, 9WDF512, 9RXB581, 8XQF399. This is the fake son over Starbucks. L. Edwards is engaged in what is A. Quesada, criminal summoning at 9 in the morning. All right, they're all stalking. They're all stalking while I'm on the same block where the Ontario police engaging in ongoing psychopathic pacing, just like they are in this parking lot while the fake moon's over me. This is the Ontario village where the fake sun was rising this morning while the entity's engaged in vagina monitoring, which is what you're doing when you're engaged in 25-hour surveillance and a population of demons who stalk you with the police department that's actually engaged in criminal surveillance. They engage in what is the guise of a traffic stop to engage in the demonic pattern of conduct with light activity while they are in relevant position and ongoing audible noises maintained. In that video, you will hear Union Pacific and my voice, and the ongoing noise is the elements of monitoring under a fake sun. This is the same street where the Ontario police are pacing. Those two vehicles, those demons were as a department pacing, but they're pacing all together. And this is the same street right here, San Antonio and HOLT, while the fake sun's over me. This is evidence suggesting that the sun rises and sets on the same street. That's what you're looking at. The evidence has the entity's fake sun right here at this bus stop at 7:51 in the morning. It's on the record. The entity has the fake sun. It's right now currently 5:42 p.m. The entity has the fake sun rising over me this morning. This is where I'm at the Superior parking lot, Superior Grocers, a ghetto establishment filled with hostile demons who are, many of them, prospective immigrants, hostile to being in this country, hostile to an American citizen enforcing their rights, gang stalking with the terrorists who are the Ontario Police Department gang members. And I want to be clear, the Ontario Police Department is going to be disbanded because of their facilitation of terrorism. That is, they're engaging in terrorism with immigrants, and they are facilitating that, engaging in more acts of violence while I report the fact that immigrants are engaged in terrorism in California. The entity gang stalking me by helicopter as I do so. The entity engaging in what is ongoing harassment and terrorism while that immigrant population is sharing in that P.O.C. The entity's engaging in that pattern of conduct while I'm in that parking lot, and engaging in psychopathic pacing is not helping the demons. In fact, it prosecutes 6FKX114, who's in the same exact environment. Obviously, you don't have to say anything to me. You already know. Everyone knows without saying a word. A fifth grader knows that the sun is not going to be over the same Starbucks. It's not going to be across the street from the same venue where I'm at 6 in the morning. It's not going to happen. And this is how you know that Fuji Foods Products is gang stalking, engaging in conspicuous surveillance in the morning, while that airport's engaged in what is stalking on this side of the street where I'm at, doing so with plane after plane in the same way they're crossing paths with vehicle after vehicle under what is a fake sun. It's psychopathic pacing. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that, again, they have no expectation of avoiding prison. They have no expectation of surviving what is a case. They have no expectation. They have no intention to plead not guilty. They don't have any intention of being successful in any civil and criminal matter. They don't. But I want to be clear, for companies like Amazon Prime, for companies like FedEx and UPS, there's not enough money that you can't buy the verdict. You can't. And what the entity is doing in any city is inevitably, inherently harming what is a case that you don't have to defend yourself. I'm going to prosecute every aspect of the system. And that includes the gang stalking companies. When the entity thinks that it's a good idea to gang stalk with that level of impunity, it's speaking to the entire entity. Every company, every establishment, every neighborhood, every license plate, every household, every status of entity, the immigrants, the minors. Okay, the entities engage in this, and this is the same parking lot. At what point in the year would the sun be over my head here at 10:29, 10:31, when that police department is flying in circles over me here, and it's 5, and they're flying in circles over me? This is the same block. That's the same block. Look at the map. They're going to prison. Okay? This is the entity that's stalking by a whole airport. You climb into planes to stalk one person, and then you're doing it to the person that is documenting it. And moreover, that person has full credibility. In fact, the world is watching you expose yourself, because I can't make you be that stupid to continuously give me the evidence. 5ZWS 905, Demon. ABCJ 663, Demon. 9BVP 478, Demon. They're pacing. This is what they do in the bathroom concerning my vagina. It's a hysteria. It's a mania when I pull my panties down. And for that, a police department is being disbanded. And they will be the means whereby you're going to prosecute San Diego Police Department, who are under a fake sun through my hotel room window in San Diego, California, because there is no explanation for that whatsoever. It's not going to be on any property reflecting in my window while they are also pulling out helicopters. That's not a coincidence. It's called a pattern. All right? Vehicle 1040 is crossing path. The entity is engaged in what is unintelligent conduct. Unintelligent. And the entity that's full of imbeciles. They're gang violence, they're groupthink conduct, they're idiocy. If they do it in your face, then they're not going to be prosecuted for it. We're in a universe where you think that you control anything and they don't control it. They can't even control their minds. They're psychotic. They're going to prison for obvious and criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct. That's how they're going to prison. For a criminal case that's not a mystery whatsoever. P.O.C. DF02H14. 7SAR688. 6SDL442. Those demons that are gang stalking in the parking lot in the morning. I'm prosecuting. I documented all those license plates, and the fake sun is over me at the coin laundry. Let me be clear. I'm standing in the same parking lot. It's over the coin laundry over this building. Look, because it's so ridiculous. And then the agency that's being disbanded crosses path under that fake sun. They are directly responsible and engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct. They're responsible for the public corruption, and they are going to be disbanded as a matter of justice because of it. P.O.C. It is currently 5:47 p.m. at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. It's 6:34 p.m. Ontario Police is stalking at the square, following me from the Superior Grocery to the Ontario Village Shopping Center in front of third-party facilitating venue Kings Inc. and the HOLT Boulevard Smoke Shop. I captured it in images moments ago at 6:35. This is where the airport is also stalking from the Superior parking lot to the Ontario Village. They changed sides of the street. Fake sun is over the parking lot, and they're doing so while I'm publishing the evidence. This is P.O.C. This plane activity is immediately following helicopter activity, and I took a picture of the helicopter. You'll see the fake sun. It is after 6 p.m., and the entity has a fake sun over the same Ontario Village Shopping Center. That's a 12-hour duration of time, by the way. And the entity is also stalking by helicopter, following me while they are then engaged in what is harassment as I publish the evidence. And I'm documenting the people of the state, demons that are gang stalking. The smoke shop is gang stalking. The Kings Inc., the tattoo shop is gang stalking. Stater Brothers is gang stalking. Dee Dee's Discounts is gang stalking. Habit is gang stalking. License Larry, George, Robert, Nancy, John, Open Nancy, LGRNJON is gang stalking. The people of the state are doing so with their children. Getting in and out of their cars is the entity's method of pacing around me where I'm located. When I'm inside of the venue, they're pacing in and out of the entrance doors. When I'm in the bathroom, they're pacing in and out of the bathroom and in and out of any bathroom that's in relevant position, the adjacent bathrooms. They're doing so in the sky space, the airport, and the police department. And I captured that in images, following me again from place to place, doing so while Hernandez is engaged in criminal summoning after engaging what is psychotic behavior, stalking me as a police officer, doing so while driving in a circle around me in that parking lot to have engineer light drag across the Superior grocery store. And that's while I'm en route walking from the laundromat to that grocery store under that fake sun after you witness that light activity inside of that laundromat, which is a communication of a threat and a clear indication regarding surveillance by that agency who was then conspicuously stalking me in that manner, and then returns to engage in criminal summoning with the people of the state who are stalking at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. They're pacing in the parking lot under the fake sun. That's here at 6 in the morning. I've already documented this. This is P.O.C. So that's the plane activity that you're hearing. That's the airport stalking here while they're monitoring the evidence that's then going on the internet after they commit the ongoing terrorism, and I document it, which they know. They engage in it with anticipation of being documented. This is the entity that's anticipating and conspiring murder, regardless of the consequences, and that's going to inform the prosecution of terrorists like Otif El-Kadi and Alan D. WAPNER and Mike Lorenz and Hernandez that's engaging in criminal summoning with the people of the state. And the people of the state engaging in surveillance like I'm documenting, Fuji Foods products, Stater Brothers, David Quinones, and the gang stalking sex offenders like Pamela going into the bathroom to monitor my vagina while they listen to me document about the fact that they're violent sex offenders. While the demons, the sex offenders, engage in that ongoing stalking with impossible light because they're hostile as I publish damning evidence, which further confirms the fact that you're going to prison. The entity is doing the same thing with regard to helicopter and plane activity, confirming that they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:38 p.m. 6:41 p.m. Ontario Village Shopping Center at 628 D Street, Kings Inc. That's supposed to be a takeoff, and this is what they were doing at the Superior Grocer on the opposite side of the street, which is west of San Antonio. This is stalking. 6:42 p.m. It's audible activity. It's as fake as the fake sun. P.O.C. I just want to be clear. I believe his name is Salvador, of the Stater Brothers. David Quinones, the vagina monitors inside of Stater Brothers. They're under a fake sun at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm documenting their ongoing sex group acts of violence with this same airport and this same police department. And it is after 6 p.m. And the entity is maintaining a fake sun also when I go to Upland, California, which is impossible. And it is untenable with regard to having a serious exchange and a prosecution in court regarding the environment where you are not suspect at the outset regarding the evidence of targeting and identifying the crime scene, which is all of the environment everywhere and at all times. The entity is engaging in this conduct of stalking by the airport while I'm at the village where you're going to prison, like I stated. You are gang stalking at the Stater Brothers, and I'm going to prosecute that company like I stated I am, while the airport is stalking and the police department are stalking. This is P.O.C. 6:43 p.m. 7 p.m. At the same Ontario Village Shopping Center at Kings Inc. 628 Suite D, West Hope Boulevard. And the smoke shop owner, or excuse me, one of her employees, this demon, is engaged in psychopathic pacing in and out, and he's pacing with the customers that are all third parties, while the airport is stalking at the Village Center. The Village Shopping Center. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:01 p.m. 7:01 p.m. The Ontario Village Shopping Center is stalking, so this is what this is evidence of. I'm going to prosecute them. Every other moment of the day, at 6 in the morning, at 7 in the morning, during the business transactions that are accomplished through the Habit drive-thru, the Starbucks that's across the street at 706 West Holt Boulevard, the ongoing use of Union Pacific as audible activity under the fake sun at 9 o'clock in the morning. The entity is engaging in what is exposing every tactic because it's all happening under an environment that is impossible to naturally occur because the entity is engaged in surveillance which is underway in an environment that is untenable, but for maintaining an environment for stalking of a mass scale. It's demonic with regard to the plane activity. It's demonic with regard to that train activity. It's a public nuisance for which the entity is engaged in criminal activity. I'm going to literally prosecute Union Pacific. Those are also the channels of interstate commerce. Union Pacific, that's the train system. That's a means of monitoring. The entity is engaged in what is surveillance in the homes of American citizens, surveillance in the bathrooms, the genitalia of American citizens, while a population of sex offenders paced all around engaging in what is stalking together, which is what you're doing when you're engaged in criminal monitoring. It's a population of stalkers. They're all stalking. They're following around
around perpetually in a manner that you're not supposed to suspect, you're not supposed to be aware of. They're literally following you around under a fake sun and with engineered light. These stalkers are being prosecuted. Union Pacific is a stalker. The Ontario National Airport is a stalker. The Ontario Police Department is a stalker. Stater Brothers Markets is a stalker. Kings Inc. is a stalker. The Hope Boulevard Smoke Shop is a stalker. The OVITT Family Community Library is a stalker. The City of Upland is a stalker. This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is P.O.C, and that's a massive federal RICO case. It's an epic one. It's an historic, it's an unprecedented RICO case. This is a criminal enterprise that has been exposed. And while you're witnessing this entity engage in that, they are showing the fact that they've given up what was never a competition in the first place. That's why you witness the government admitting for the 2,700th time that they're stalking me, while the Ontario Police engage in stalking me under the fake sun at 4 in the afternoon across the street from here, where the sunrise is documented at 6:33 a.m. across the street at Superior Grocer at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where Hernandez is engaging in what is obsessing over me. The demon-possessed that are a part of the Ontario Police, they're obsessed with my vagina. That's the reality. They're demons. Remember, these are spirits, and all of the character flaws, all of their personality defects, all of their mental deficiencies. This is known. Psychopathic, delusional, sexually perverted, antisocial, okay, unfounded hostility. All right, this is an entity that's engaging in these things, and they do so with regard to gross sexual violence and psychopathic conduct, wanting to do that while they maintain an outward demeanor of being a loving family, a loving parent, a caring caretaker, and they are the exact opposite. And this is not written for a movie. In fact, demons that are directors are the ones getting what the demon possessed are actually doing. That's how they create these movies. It is the people of the state, and they're stalking in planes at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, by the way, and it's evidence to prosecute with regard to a federal RICO case. It's all serving me. Just want to be clear on that. It's 7:05 p.m. This is P.O.C. Ontario Police responding to Hernandez, who's going to federal prison, by stalking me again by helicopter at what is 628D and Holt Boulevard, doing so at what is 11:12 at night. They have a tendency to stalk women in helicopters at nightfall when a woman tells on them for stalking her and trying to murder her. This is what Hernandez is doing under the fake sun, by the way, in the middle of the afternoon. He's acting in furtherance of committing murder as an entity, wearing a uniform, not engaged in law enforcement, engaging in criminal activity, and facilitating such criminal activity with a population referred to as the people of the state, who are currently doing so at the same Stater Brothers parking lot where that fake sun sat after 5 p.m., the same parking lot where I was at 6 in the morning, where demons with corrupt companies like Fuji Foods Products are engaging in surveillance with this same gang member, the Ontario Police Department. The helicopter flying right over Kings Inc., where I'm seated. The same location where I was in the image that you'll see uploaded to the Google Drive. You'll see the big, robust, dark, blood orange fake sun in this same parking lot where it's rising. It's here setting, and you'll see the demons of this same police department stalking in the distance right here over the same parking lot, stalking me while I was publishing the evidence, stalking me now while Hernandez is identified as engaging in what is the criminal activity that is committed in furtherance of trying to murder someone. Stalking while wearing a police uniform. And he's going to federal prison. He's going to federal prison while his criminal co-defendants continuously stalk me, especially as I speak upon the fact that he's a criminal, because there's no coincidences there either. And he is, under all circumstances, going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. A bunch of vagina monitors are stalking in the parking lot, which is also why Hernandez is going to federal prison. That agency is surrounded not only with evidence of being severely mentally ill, but with regard to evidence that they're stalking me. And stalking me in the most absurd, unheard of ways, which are proven. It's not hearsay. It's not gossip. It's not rumors. They're all facts. And it's also a fact that they're demons. Demons will not be in law enforcement, not in California. And there will be none on the force in Ontario, California. That's for certain.
I want to be clear, Hernandez is threatening my life, and he's going to prison for that. He's going to prison because I'm subject to threat right now while it's already on X right now that I'm publishing evidence regarding him and his criminal activity today. And as I do that in conformity to the pattern, I'm subject to ongoing targeting by helicopter, which is also speaking to the fact that you're going to prison. When I document you and then all of a sudden my life is under siege, guess who's getting in trouble for it? What am I speaking to? What am I doing? Where am I at? What is the subject matter? Because you're going to prison. You're going to federal prison for it. This is how these demons that think that they're practicing hoodoo voodoo are engaging in, ooh, I'm harming you and I'm not touching you. You can't prove it. The joke is on you. You're going to prison under all circumstances, Hernandez, where you can stand on your boyfriend's shoulders and engage in gang stalking in the jail. In prison, and see how far you get there. Stalking somebody and then acting like you're ignoring them. You're psychotic. You belong in a cell where you're going. Your partners are here putting you there. This is P.O.C. You heard that helicopter activity? You hear that train activity? This is where the entity is stalking, and they're stalking in a parking lot. Where demons belong in prison, that's who does that. People that need to be locked up in cages. Where they're stalking in bathrooms, people who do that belong in cages. Where they're stalking 24 hours a day and listening to you breathe and monitoring your digestion and acting like you're engaged in police work, wasting millions of dollars in doing so with a whole city that uses an airport. You have a whole bunch of people that are out here on the same demon time, stalking in the middle of the night with their demon-possessed kids in the back seat. They belong in cages. And that's where Hernandez is going. He's another one that's been added to the list. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:16 p.m. The Ontario Police is stalking, flying in the path while a demon is cutting my path off, anticipating me to walk out of the parking lot. This is a stalker stalking with the Ontario Police in furtherance of murdering me and is engaging in surveillance with that agency. Doing so at 11:26 at night, parked in front of the Little Caesars, and they're engaging in that pattern of conduct stalking with light 9 Sam Nancy Xavier 592. In concert with Ontario Police. This is P.O.C. .552 West Vesta, flying over the top of my head, stalking by meeting. This is cutting the path off. This is what the demon-possessed do in traffic. This is what they're doing when they're doing so vicariously and you don't see police anywhere around, and the police are maintaining ongoing surveillance of everyone everywhere while the population is engaging in gang stalking as a system. The entity is doing it now by helicopter, cutting off my path as I approach Vesta and Bonita. Those demons that are gang stalking with the third party's license plate that I just recited are doing so while cutting my path off, stalking, that's what stalking is, while I'm walking through the neighborhood, just like last night, by the way. By the way, what I'm documenting now is what I documented on an ongoing daily basis at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where, by the way, Craig Hazelwood engaged in criminal summoning. This is in June of 2025, where he's engaged in criminal summoning on several occasions. He is another unstable psychopath who is going to federal prison. I have documented every time he has threatened my life, stalking me, bearing a gun on his waist, and his mental instability while he is concerned with molesting me with light and engaging in what is exercising authority he does not have, when actually his purpose is to psychologically torture me, harass, and stalk me just like the entity does by helicopter. And on a nightly basis at the museum, the entity was stalking just like this, following me around in the neighborhood, stalking by helicopter. And the entity is doing this while you are very much aware of what Hernandez was doing at the Superior Markets, Superior Grocer at 815 West HOLT, and it was stalking. In the same way that the people of the state are stalking in the path on behalf of that agency, they're stalking in the path on behalf of that agency while they engage in criminal summoning together. That's the pattern of conduct. using what are traffic stops while they're engaged in criminal monitoring together. They're engaged in psychopathic pacing together. It's an illusion what you're looking at, while the government is pulling over someone against their will and they're being detained and with regard to something that they're not pleasant, that is not pleasant, that they're not happy about. They're demons that are engaging in monitoring another person. That illusion is serving criminal monitoring. This is where the entity is flying in circles over the intersection at Vesta and Bonita. This is P.O.C. Hernandez is going to prison. Hernandez drove into that parking lot today under the fake sun, cutting my path off, stalking, monitoring my vagina in the laundry room bathroom on Holt Boulevard, doing so with that laundromat filled with impossible light underneath the vending machine, all covering the walls inside of the depths of that laundromat. And then this department is stalking me in a police vehicle. The police vehicles that have been utilized to kidnap me on several occasions pursuant to malicious assertions. And it's also malicious when you're claiming that I'm violating the municipal code for camping when you're stalking me. You're actually stalking me, and you're using the municipal code as a means of getting away with stalking me, wanting to be in my presence. Ooh, I want to stalk you and monitor and molest you, your vagina and your face and your body with light because I'm a demon. So I'm going to approach you with this uniform and this gun on my waist and tell you that you're violating the municipal code when I'm stalking you, just like what you're listening to right now. And by the way, there would be no municipal code at issue if this entity were not stalking, number one. Number two, if you had not been gang stalking me on the job. LAPD is the same entity. Riverside Police, same entity. They were targeting me doing property management in Riverside County. They were targeting me doing property management while I am in San Bernardino County. While I'm practicing law in Los Angeles, that's LAPD. This is a circumstance created by them. The municipal code is absolutely irrelevant. It's a malicious guise for what the entity is doing, flying in circles around me, just like they were at that laundromat under a fake sun, where every police department I just named are surrounded with the evidence of that environment. This is the P.O.C. Everything that the entity is doing is putting Hernandez in prison. He is going to federal prison, just like Jay Montez. He is going to federal prison. And just like the demon before that, you already know L. Edwards is going to prison for gang stalking at the OVITT Family Community Library entrance, criminal summoning. But the entity is engaging in this, and this is adding on to what is that department that is targeting me. It is being targeted with evidence to put all of those terrorists in prison, every single last one of them that engaged in criminal activity. Stalking. Stalking is a crime. In case you did not know that, you need to understand it's an act of terrorism while an agency is stalking and doing so in furtherance of murder and getting away with it by wearing uniforms. License plate. 7, Jerry Larry 988, stalking from the Ontario Village Shopping Center with the Ontario Police who are flying in circles over this intersection at Vesta and Bonita. This is the same house where you see the Ontario Fire Department stalking me on this street right here. Impossible light is all across the side of the house. They're monitoring inside of this house. It's a facilitating venue. They are a part of the pattern of conduct. They are fully aware and engaged in the criminal system with the Ontario Police who are flying in circles, incriminating the people of the state. And this is evidence to let you know that the people of the state are not ignorant. They are indeed referred to as the people of the state who are engaged in that criminal activity that they are not ignorant about while the police fly over their home. In fact, while the police fly over your home targeting someone else, you will be prosecuted. You're engaging in that pattern of conduct with them. And that's why the entity has the fake sun over this house. The entity has the fake moon over me at this house. The entity has the fake sun over me at this house in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, with regard to what is impossible light activity while I'm being molested at this house. The entity is engaged in what is various occasions of stalking me by helicopter, just like now at this house at Bonita and Vesta. And this is how you know what it is that I've already stated. The people of the state are engaged in surveillance throughout the entire state of California. There's no place that you're going where you're not under surveillance. These are demons, and they're doing so as a population. And Hernandez is a demon who's going to prison. This is the lesson of the day. This is a demon that is engaging in what is gang stalking. His demon-possessed partners were stalking on Holt Boulevard. That was during the 1 p.m. hour, walking toward that Superior Market. 3 hours later, that fake sun is still over me as I walk back toward that Ontario Village shopping center. Those demons are on video. They're going to prison. This agency that has targeted me is being targeted with evidence to put domestic terrorists who are a threat to you, to the public, to the American society. It's national security. This is literally, I'm not exaggerating. The entity that engages in this through the abuse of the law enforcement, when they're not even engaged in law enforcement, this is gang violence. They do it as a department. They do it as a city. This is literally gang violence. It is domestic terrorism. And you're going to prison. The entity is being targeted with what are hard facts. And as they approach me, they are like a moth to a flame. They're going to prison. This is the formula for putting terrorists away, and you do not stand a chance in federal court, especially while these baboons engage in this conduct yet again. How many years have they been giving me the wealth of this evidence? Go back to October 2nd. Everyone look at the YouTube channel, the P.O.C. This is the P.O.C. and look up the playlist that is on October 2nd, 2019, and you will see where this department engaged in stealing my vehicle. I go to the OVITT Family Community Library that is still today gang stalking me in furtherance of murder, including while I'm in Upland, California. That entity is still gang stalking, and the entity is engaging in what is stealing my vehicle, and it was theft because they did it under color of authority, stalking me by helicopter while I'm sleeping in my car outside of what is Woodside Senior Apartments, where you already know this agency engaged in surveillance while I was in Tracy Banks' apartment. All the surrounding facts are established, and we can all look back together full of all of the information, looking back at what happened in 2019. Like I said, what happened in 2019, and the entity stole my car, and then doing so after stripping it. Who stripped my car? The people of the state that engage in criminal summoning with that agency. Stripped it while when John Burnett committed kidnapping. John Burnett and Sequoia Payton, who are both going to federal prison. They're both going to prison. While you see Hernandez gang stalking, while you see the entity gang stalking L. Edwards engaging in criminal summoning, while you see these demons engaging in criminal summoning at Safeco, you see Sergeant Hall and S. Casas and R. Lilly, all these demons that refuse to provide their badge numbers. You're going to prison. This is the entity that's engaging in, what is that pattern of conduct? You have this entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. and stalking on the roads and the highways, as I state that they're going to prison, and then they pull up next to me at the red light, and then they want to engage in what is gang stalking on the roads and the highways is what that is while they're listening to. These are fools. They are fools. And actually what it is they're scared. They're very scared. And they should be, because they've never been met with consequences. And they're very severe. They're not little swats on the hand, on the wrist. And there is no police association that can help them. In fact, let me tell all you demons right now, you don't have standing. This has nothing to do with you. Outside of you being gang stalkers yourself, so beware. But outside of this legal matter for terrorism, you don't have any standing. You are absolutely irrelevant. You apply to those that are engaging in the execution of the duties of officers. Upon the established pattern of conduct, they don't have any of those rights. You are not enforcing any sort of campaign supporting terrorists. You are totally irrelevant. I'm going to let you know how this is going to go right now. You don't have any standing in a criminal case against terrorists who are engaging in the abuse, maliciously targeting by that police uniform, by that title, that authority granted with such an agency. Holding that position, abusing the executive branch. There's no association that can help them. It will not happen. Terrorists are going to be prosecuted. Period. And the entities engaging in what you see, blatant terrorism, and I love it. Don't you forget it, because federal court and the law and justice is going to recall it. We're going to recall it vividly in HD, like I said, cinematic. We're going to recall it. What the entity is engaging in, while they are mindful and aware of everything that's uttered with regard to what is an American citizen representing what is the ordinary target individual, enforcing their constitutional and human rights, doing so with regard to what is a government that thought that they were going to get away with defaming you, silencing you, oppressing you, murdering you, stealing from you. And doing so with regard to being a bunch of demons that are not engaged in what they call witchcraft. They're just demon possessed. They're mentally ill. You are mentally ill even outside of even using those terms because you're psychotic stalking somebody in a helicopter. They are still following me as I'm walking through the street on Vesta. They're still following. This is what an entity is doing in 2019. Look up my playlist on this at This is the P.O.C. on my website, actually. You can go to October 19, 2019. It's like 13 videos. I'm walking through the neighborhood, and this agency is following me from the OVITT Family Community Library back to where my vehicle was stolen, and I ultimately go to Tracy Banks's apartment, where she is delighted to tell me that she can't help me. Sorry, can't help you. This is when the entity thought that they were so sure that I was going to wind up dead, that I was just going to have a nervous breakdown, okay? And this is the entity that typically is accomplishing that. You steal everything that I own. You steal my shelter. That was my car with everything that I owned inside of it. It was not just the car. Things that are irreplaceable, things that money cannot replace were stolen in that vehicle in 2019. It's not forgotten. And then the entity engages in what is underscoring that offense, again, convinced that they're going to get away with it, while they're stalking every day in helicopter, doing so under color of authority, claiming that they thought the vehicle was abandoned. No, you didn't. You're monitoring me inside of that vehicle, flying in circles over my vehicle by helicopter. You know exactly where I'm at. You know when I'm sleeping in that vehicle. While you're aiming light, molesting me with light inside of that car, you know all the facts about what these demons are doing. They stole my car, and the San Bernardino court permitted and facilitated that theft. In fact, it was the same demon, Apollo, that engaged in what is kidnapping in 2020 with this same department and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. And what you will also see is these demons that engaged in stealing from me and kidnapping me. A lot of these names of these gang stalking judges, they are at least putting their names on their cases. You'll see common names repeated with regard to what are criminal acts committed against me through the court. They don't have any jurisdiction. This is a matter of surveillance. When they're stealing my vehicle, when they're engaging what are maintaining this fictitious authority regarding a criminal case against Erica Lorraine Spencer, it's pursuant to kidnapping. This agency that is stalking, and then you're prosecuting me for a crime that didn't even happen. And the court isn't ignorant about that. The court is already surrounded with regard to being a gang stalker. That's why the fake son is over me at the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court. Fake son is over me at the San Bernardino County Courthouse, where this entity evaded service of process in the civil courts. And it was confirmed by the California Supreme Court. This is no surprise. This is showing you that the system is entirely corrupt and that there is no exception, like I already said. And the entity is still stalking me by the Ontario Police Department, and the California Supreme Court is aware of that. The California appellate courts are aware of that. The Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court exercising authority that they don't actually have because they are engaged in surveillance, because they're engaging in what is antithetical to the very purpose of that courthouse. That's a principled argument. They don't have authority. That's not what the law is designed to do, to facilitate your corrupt practices, to enrich you. No, that's not what that's for. But this is what they did. And they did it to me because they thought they were going to get away with it. They thought it was going to be like every other sacrifice. But I'm still here. And Lisa Rogan's going to prison. I said that in 2020. You're going to prison, ma'am. You're going to prison. This is an entity that's engaging in this while you hear the Ontario police. I keep telling you this because you're not thinking how it's going to reach out and choke the life out of you. While I'm being stalked at 11:30 at night, Lisa Rogan's going to prison for it. You're going to federal prison. It's directly connected to this courthouse's criminal activity, repeatedly kidnapping and seeking to criminally defame, while they're engaging, moreover, in the criminal pattern of conduct. You didn't just disregard these facts. You're engaging in the criminal activity. These are demons that fill the courthouse. These are demons that are stalking, holding hands with these demons that are stalking in helicopter. Hernandez is gang stalking with the blessing of these gang stalking courthouses. They think they have a system that's solid, and it's not. I'm here to destroy all of it and expose it. I want you to know, I want you to see and recognize and understand what I'm destroying. And it's going to be destroyed with these terrorists going to prison. They're going to prison. It's not just going to be destroyed. They're going to federal prison. This is long-term, enduring oppression, damages that you cannot calculate, you can't quantify, and you cannot give back the time with regard to the criminal enterprise that the entity has targeting me by, and doing so with this ongoing long term. Now you've got a delusional prospect. What are you stalking me for, other than you listening to me give you lessons and messages every day and reminding you about who's going to federal prison? These gang stalking judges that committed kidnapping in 2019, in 2020, in 2021, in 2022, because you're going to prison. You put your hands on anything having to do with kidnapping me, and it's not going to remain a mystery. Kara Hudson, Shannon Faye Hurty, Mr. Brody, Lisa Rogan. I can keep going. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. While you think that this is just, you're forgetful. You're very short-sighted, and you're delusional. What these baboons are doing on a daily basis is speaking to what you are going to. You're going to prison. You are going to federal prison. I could laugh about it because that's how it's serious, but I'm like, this is an afterthought. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. You're going to prison. And I just want to make sure that that's clear. These demons that are engaging in targeting me, it's affecting a whole entity. And there are demons that are calling themselves judges that engaged in federal offenses against me years ago, and it's still resulting in ongoing damages. And this is pursuant to a system that was underway when they were engaging in that conduct, and that does not cease to be the case now. In fact, I'm still suffering while the entity is gang stalking today. You're going to prison. There's no statute of limitations. It's not dissolving away. There's no check that's going to be written out. You cannot get out of through civil court your criminal activity. You're going to be criminally responsible for what you committed. It's terrorism that's facilitated in the courthouses. So if you are foolish, let me explain something to you. You will be prosecuted as a terrorist while you are facilitating this gang stalking that's underway, that I'm documenting through the court system, which I've documented how that's executed. You are a gang stalker. Gang stalking is a term of art. It's a system, not just the demons pasting all around me in the engineered light. It's not just that. And you will be prosecuted as a terrorist. And you are subject to federal prison. And while these idiots are gang stalking with the Ontario police thinking that it's funny, you're not going to think it's funny, Miss Rogan, because you're going to prison behind it. This is the criminal activity that you share in. You're holding hands with these idiots that don't have the education that you have. They don't understand the legal implications, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Prosecuting a criminal conspiracy. And the facts are there. And I documented you while you were engaging in kidnapping. While I'm subject to what is identity theft. While I'm being kidnapped pertaining to what are malicious charges. First of all, malicious charges while you're stalking me. You're stalking. This is stalking. And you're not ignorant about that. That courthouse isn't ignorant. The fake son sits over that courthouse. The fake son that's sitting simultaneously at the OVITT Family Community Library, where they make assertions that they know are not true. Not just false, but they know that they're false because they're gang stalking you. They're down to your genitalia. They know exactly what you do and don't do. They're monitoring you. They know whether you're a liar or not. They know whether you're a thief. They know whether you like child porn or not. They're sitting and monitoring what you do when you think nobody's watching. This entity thought that because of who it is, the government, that they could just defame you. If you're not a criminal, well, we'll just call you a criminal. And who's going to question us because we are the state? That's literally their plan. And every single last one of you that took shots, you're going to prison for it. As unbelievable as it is. But what do you know? You go dizzy wearing diapers, stalking in helicopters. Stalking with light. You're gargoyles. You're not even well. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. This is the P.O.C. And the entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and it affects everyone, including that midget, Hernandez, gang stalking at Superior Groceries today. At 815 West Holt Boulevard, I just want to be clear, that's 0.4 miles away from Ontario Village Shopping Center, where I was during the 6 and 7 a.m. hour, where the fake sun rose, which I documented on more than one occasion. It's along the same Holt Boulevard. The same whole boulevard. I just want to be clear. That's non-movement of the sun. From sunrise until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, I'm in that parking lot where the demons decide to pull out a helicopter and fly in circles over my head, as I just so happen to be documenting their co-defendant, the people of the state that engage in surveillance, covering all the corners of that parking lot, making sure they're maintaining traffic in and on and off that parking lot, psychopathic pacing under a fake sun, doing so with that agency that is stalking via the Ontario International Airport that has no terminals that would be anywhere over there, while they're acting like they're taking off over the Ontario City Hall. Well, they're flying much more west to be then hovering over the, that is the 815 Superior parking lot, Superior Grocers parking lot, over the Holt Boulevard. Okay, the entities at the Ontario International Airport they're so blatant with their stalking, it's not even funny. Just like the Ontario police they are. You're talking about, this is another night of them flying in circles over me as I'm walking through the neighborhood. They're doing this this is an entity, again, I want to be clear. People like Lisa, when you're in court and you cannot fathom that it's going to happen, but it's actually going to happen. It's actually going to happen. And you shouldn't be shocked, because this is evidence that I was speaking to was so spectacular. What type of idiot would give you this type of evidence? Who would do that? So that I could smack you in the face with it in court. Who would do that? The same demons that are going to be in court dumbfounded because they can't believe that they're going to prison, and you're going to prison. You're going to prison. And you should not be dumbfounded. But you know why you are? Because you're a psychopath. That's why. You're a psychopath that is incapable of dealing with consequences, with accountability, with this ongoing delusion where you thought that because you've engaged in wronging so many people for so long that you can be held accountable under the law. And not only is that the lie, but as you witness the fact of somebody holding you accountable, meaning you're losing in your own game, your own criminal conduct. I'm exposing your criminal system. I'm telling who's doing it. I'm telling them how. I'm breaking it down. I'm teaching everybody so that they will be informed as well. You're still engaging in it because you're delusional. You can't deal with consequences. And the consequence for that is you're going to be looking stupid and lost, dumbfounded in a federal courtroom when you are convicted for what I said you're going to prison for, because it's going to happen. You are delusional. If you think I sat in a jail cell and you're not going to prison, you're delusional. I'm going to let you know that right now. You are getting locked up. And you're talking about interest with regard to time, with regard to money. And you're going to prison for what you did in 2020, 2021, for what I'm still suffering from, what you committed in 2026. That's why these feces consumers are so comfortable stalking me every other 30 minutes by helicopter, when I'm putting it on the internet for the world to see. But you know what? The world is not just the world, but it's the federal government that's witnessing it. And you're going to prison with that. And everyone is witnessing that as well. P.O.C. Wells Fargo is gang stalking while the people of the state are using it as a means of stalking in the path with light activity. 8 Jerry Victor Apple 167, and this is the same exact Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. You have little minions that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they create a paper trail of themselves while they get on the surveillance cameras of Wells Fargo, where the entity is stalking by in the engineered environment, engaging what is that federal RICO case. So this is the public corruption of the entity, and this is how an entity is keeping under surveillance where they live, where they work, and where they travel, engaging in the maintenance of venues like Wells Fargo, which has the fake sun over it day and night. Not the fake sun. It has the fake sun over it from the beginning until the end of the day. This is on the record already. And the entity maintaining that ongoing engineered environment. I'm looking at multiple shadows on the ground right now. Going to the ATM at Wells Fargo is a method of ongoing criminal surveillance by the state. This is the entity that's engaging what is stalking one person. So one after another, taking shifts, going to the ATM, maintaining presence there, just engaging what is surveillance on the curb there, turning their hazard lights on there, going back and forth in and out of the parking lot there. They're engaging what is stalking in the path. This is P.O.C. All right. This is the entity that's engaging in sexual assault and battery, and so is Sarah's Regis Group, doing so right now. Sarah's Regis Group, very heavily documented. Ran through that whole parking garage and documented all those residents and their employees, and Sarah's Regis Group itself is going to be prosecuted. The sex offender's license plate, driver and a passenger, license plate, 9 Paul Appleberry 421. And that's the Ontario police that are committing sexual assault and battery. And I want to be clear, the gang stalking judges that are responsible for what the state of California is engaging in, and you're responsible for it, while gang members are engaging in what is criminal surveillance, and you are facilitating it through a corrupt court system that you are sharing in, that you're facilitating, enabling, in order to target an American citizen. And you are maliciously, intentionally, knowingly doing that while the fake sun is over that courthouse, which is speaking to all manner of knowledge. Everyone under the fake sun is engaging in surveillance. And that is established as a matter of record. It's not just something that I'm stating as some sort of rule and causing that to be what is some overarching point. The entity has shown itself to be targeting in that environment. The environment that I showed to everyone else, this is supernatural. This is not a coincidence. This is absolutely impossible. And you have this behavioral pattern, this behavioral health concern while they are in this supernatural environment, and that's not coincidental while it remains over me. Oh, and guess where it remains over me? At the courthouses, where they know exactly what's going on. They're monitoring vagina. They know exactly who I am. This is the abuse of such a system, the illusion regarding a legitimate criminal justice system, if you will, used to target those whom they want to target. Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in that. This is P.O.C. This is what I want you to be reminded of, because this is an entity that's engaging in that level of conduct, and they're doing so to their own demise. We're beyond what is proving the case. Like I stated, the case against the state is already complete. You have a bunch of ghettos, a bunch of lowlifes that are hell-bound. They have nothing to live for. That's why they're stalking me 24 hours a day. It's an unfortunate concession regarding how little you find yourself to be worthwhile while you are committed to serving Satan. Satan who is obsessed with me. Satan who cannot possess me. Satan who cannot control me. Satan who will not silence me. Satan who uses people in my family who do not have authority over me. You do not have authority over me while you serve Satan. No, you do not. No, you do not. And Satan will not dress himself up in your vessel to try to exercise authority that you do not authentically maintain. You will not. It's not going to happen. This is what Satan has done with the police department that is, again, trying to cloak itself as having authority. It does not. This is what Satan has done in many, many forms. It's spiritual attacks, and it is manifesting in the physical regarding criminal activity that this agency is engaging in. They literally don't have authority. Well, I'm not a criminal. You don't have any warrant or probable cause. You don't have a legitimate interest under the state and federal constitutions. Meaning you don't even have any business doing what you're doing. And what you're doing is stalking. You think when you're looking to the left and the right and when you're talking to the people of the state that it's not stalking, and that's not so. You're delusional and you're highly unintelligent. All they are engaging in what is the application of brute force, no intellect. They have no idea how they've already been intellectually overwhelmed, surrounded, and prosecuted. And Hernandez, and this is why they're so foolish as well, but it's also because of what is that ego that drowns out what is any sound reasoning. That ego that's accustomed to murdering people, by the way. That's where that ego comes from murdering and kidnapping, raping and stealing. It's not an ego from being a victorious winner, from being righteous, from being the one that, no. They have an ego with regard to doing wicked to people and getting away with it. That's where that ego comes from. But it shows that they're not actually victorious in anything. They're not competent. They're not formidable. They're not respectable at all. They are absolute idiots that are lacking in any sound reasoning, no strategy, totally discombobulated with regard to what they are being approached with, while I am intellectualizing absolute animalistic, barbaric behavior so that everyone else can understand it and make sense of what is a mentally ill and malicious pattern of conduct by murderous, bloodthirsty, sexually perverted gang stalkers who are demon possessed. Demons that are targeting together. That's what gang stalking is, the demon possessed that are targeting your spiritual attack. That's what it is. It's referred to as gang stalking. Gang stalking is a spiritual attack. It's demonic activity. And the Ontario Police Department are engaging in it. The state of California is engaging in it. It is criminal surveillance. All right, so I just want to be clear on that. The entity that's engaging in what is following me in the same manner that they were last night, doing so at the intersection of Bonita and Vesta, okay, everybody is going to be prosecuted in the neighborhood. Everybody in the neighborhood. okay? But this is the entity that's engaging in what is you're focused on me. You're so focused on my vagina. You're so frustrated by my descriptors, but you're still engaging in that conduct. You're still stalking me, so you're not that bothered apparently. But at the same time, you're still obsessed with me. This is an entity that's engaging in what is very psychotic behavior. Okay, these are people, these are men that never had sex with me. They don't know how amazing I am. They don't know how good of a kisser I am, but they are as obsessed with as someone that has had some sort of relationship with me. That's what is demon possessed and is gang stalking me, using the most expensive means, the most far out means. Somebody that is really obsessed with me, that really wants my attention. That is literally what's behind gang stalking. That is literally what's behind using things like planes and helicopters. Going to the extent to try to use a traffic stop because you want to be in my vicinity. Because that's what Hernandez was doing. It's pathetic. You see that band on his hand? He's either married to a boy or a girl. All right? He's with something. But he's over here thirsty for my attention. It's pathetic. And this is the reality. This is the truth. It's actually what is going on. And it's pathetic. The entity has lost so bad, they are stalking because they want my attention. They're literally pleading for my attention. They'll fly over by one plane. I don't care. So they'll keep doing it to see if I respond. Respond by documenting it. Do you know what's going on with the documentation, fool? It's going to be submitted in court. There's an ongoing court case right now on the internet. There are people that are paying attention. It's a very real prosecution and investigation. That's what's going on with the documentation. While you're stalking and monitoring me, you're being watched. What I say has weight, whether you like it or not. And when I say Lisa Rogan's going to prison for the Ontario police gang stalking me, that's exactly where that monkey mouth demon is going. That's exactly where she's going. No one has forgotten. Heaven is sitting up waiting for her to get that, which I told her, you're going to prison. You're going to prison because they thought it was the Truman Show in court. You thought it was a Truman Show. Everyone's going to watch this plot twist. Lisa Rogan's going to federal prison. Don't you ever defame my character, ever in your life. You're going to prison for what you did, ma'am. You're going to prison for what you did, and I am still suffering the damages from it. And you are not the only one. But you are at the top of the list of the demons, the terrorists in the courthouse who are indeed engaged in domestic terrorism. Understand what this system is and how it is going to be prosecuted and how that prosecution is going to be executed. And those demons that are targeting me of that agency, welcome to the ongoing targeting of that agency. The Ontario Police Department is being targeted. P.O.C. It is currently 12:03 a.m. It's now Thursday, March 12, 2026. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. This is P.O.C.